in dealing with compound inequalities, there is another type. So in the previous notes, we explored and, where both pieces have to be true. Now let's explore a little bit about the or situation. Or means only one or the other needs to be true, not both. So in graphing these, it's almost the same. I'm going to have you solve them individually, then graph them both above the number line. But then in this one, on the number line, you shade anywhere that there's shading, okay, instead of having to identify the overlap. So let's see how that looks in an actual example. Oh, I apologize, I didn't want to move that. All right, so let's begin with this one. On the left-hand side, the negative 3x is greater than or equal to 9. I'm just going to divide by negative 3. And that also, remember, dividing by negative reverses the direction of the inequality. On the other side, I'm going to subtract off the 3 and divide by 4. So here we have x being less than or equal to negative 3. We have y being, or x being greater than 4. Now because this is an or, okay, only one or the other has to be true. So what that means is in this shading, that means that you shade everything that you see. Your solution is actually the entirety of both pieces. And that's what you put on the number line as your actual answer. Okay? So again, for the most part, very similar to the and. The only difference is now you are shading everything you see instead of only searching for an overlap. For our next one, when I divide by that negative 2, again, keep in mind that is going to reverse the direction of the inequality. And in the next one, I like to collect the x's on the left-hand side. So I'm going to subtract off the x, which momentarily will leave that as 0, but then I can add over the 10 and then divide by 2. So here that's going to leave me less than or equal to 2, strictly greater than 5, and because this is an or situation, or means I shade everything that I see. So I include both pieces in my final solution. Okay, so again, not much different than I've already been having you do. Now there is kind of a fun special case. So if you flip over your notes, so here again, let's focus on solving both independently. I'm going to divide by negative 5, which will flip my inequality. Oh, I'm sorry, that would be a 3. Here I'm going to distribute that 2, subtract the 6, and divide by 2. All right, so as I'm doing this one, being strictly less than 3 puts me right there. Being greater than negative 2 puts me there. But this is still an or situation. So the really interesting thing about this one is when I go to shade in my number line, I'm shading everything. Everything is covered by these inequalities. So kind of the interesting thing is this is a circumstance of actually all real numbers, right? Every number is a solution to this. Every number would work because it is an OR. So just a fun circumstance to show you that, again, OR means you're graphing absolutely anything that you see, and in this case that means every single number, every real number is part of your solution. Now, don't forget, though, how to do the AND, because come test time, you obviously won't be told what method to use. You have to know. So remember, for AND situations, okay, it starts off the same. Subtract the 1, divide by -2. Dividing by negative will flip my sign. Over here, I want to collect my x on the left-hand side, so I subtract x from both sides, momentarily leaving me a 0, but then I can add over the 15 and divide by 3. So here, being greater than -2, less than or equal to 5, and this is an AND, so remember AND in this case means overlap, okay? So OR means everything, AND means overlap. So this is where I'd have to drag down all those things, and I only want that overlap piece, that in-between piece that both exist for. So I did just want to reemphasize that idea because I want to make sure that you do know the difference between them, how to do both of these scenarios. So thank you for watching through. Make sure you have all of this filled out, and then of course you can go and move on to working on the worksheet.